Good morning. I think we can get started. Thank you for joining today's webinar, Informed Delivery for Nonprofits 101. My name is Carolyn, and I'd like to cover a few housekeeping items before we get started. Today's webinar is hosted in collaboration with Adriftco and the Alliance for Nonprofit Mailers. We're going to record this webinar and make a copy available upon request. And we welcome you to revisit the content yourself and share it with colleagues. So please follow up with us if you'd like to receive a recorded version. We'd also invite your comments and questions throughout the webinar. Please take a moment to locate the Q&A chat box on your screen. If you think of a question for the speakers at any point, just type it in there and we'll either answer it at that time or we'll hold it for the Q&A discussion at the end of the event. You'll notice that all participants are set to mute. If you'd like to speak out loud to ask a question, just raise your hand. That's a function you can use on this webinar, and we'll unmute you temporarily. Today's presenters are myself, Carolyn Angelini, and Alex Newell. Alex and I are both Production Solutions team members and passionate about informed delivery. We've supported several nonprofits over the past year and a half as they've ventured into informed delivery testing. And at this point, we'd like to get started. So what is informed delivery? Informed delivery is a free service available from the USPS. The United States Postal Service thought of this concept because they wanted to have a means to be able to communicate with P.O. box holders. And they thought, how can we connect with individuals throughout the country that have P.O. boxes that might want to know what is arriving in their P.O. box prior to them driving down to their local postal facility to pick up their mail. And after they thought of how that would work, they realized that probably they were undervaluing it, thinking it could only be for P.O. box members. They decided to roll it out throughout the country. So close to 4 years ago, there was a pilot in the Northern Virginia area, and about 2 years ago, it was opened up throughout the country. Informed delivery is a means for mail recipients to sign up to get a digital view of what's coming to their mailbox on a daily basis. So everyone in the country, almost all addresses, are able to sign up for informed delivery by going to the U.S. Postal System's website, signing up to be a user, and at that point, they can request whether they want to sign up to be a user via the dashboard or will be an email-enabled user. Either way, they're going to have access to the data that the USPS is going to provide in regards to what is actually arriving in their mailbox that day. It could be a letter, it could be a flat, and it could be a parcel. This screen shows you what shows up when you log in on your phone to the app and you see what is coming into your mailbox that day. You'll see the actual mail piece design at the top. That is a scanned image of the mail piece, and it's shown in color because this campaign has been run for this marketer. On the bottom, you'll see a black and white version. That's the actual scan from the USPS because there hasn't been a marketer involved. This is a view in the email inbox. This is actually a sample that Alex received at home for a campaign we ran for Heifer. In this case, Heifer chose to use a representative image, and the USPS swapped in this image at the top along with the ride-along image, which enables the interactive content for the marketers. At the bottom, you'll see the black and white scanned image of a mail piece. In this case, this marketer or mail sender did not run an interactive informed delivery campaign, so the USPS was using their black and white scanned image. This is a view to the dashboard. Again, if you sign up as an individual user, you have the choice to view your informed delivery content in 3 means: on your phone via the app, via your email inbox, or you can log on to the USPS dashboard. At the dashboard view, you're able to see your mail for the last, I think it's week. And it also is going to show you your packages that are arriving as well. So if you wanted to go back and see the mail that you got on Friday, you're able to do so there. The view is very similar in the dashboard as it is in your email inbox. These are the stats for informed delivery. At this point, there are 15.5 million registered users throughout the country. 12.6 million are registered households. The difference between a registered user and a registered household is that you can have multiple users signed up within the same household. So my husband and I can both be signed up. We will both see all of the mail coming to the inbox. It's not just the mail that's sent to my name versus his name. 10.6 million email-enabled users. Now, this number is different, and it is less than the number of registered users because not everyone decides to receive the emails. At the time the USPS opened up informed delivery, they weren't doing a great job of opting in to email, and they've actually fixed that, and the gap between email-enabled users and registered users is getting much tighter. It's their goal to get as many email-enabled users as possible. They're seeing about 166,000 weekly users getting registered. Thus far, they've created 8,500 campaigns across 1,500 brands. They're running about 1,000 campaigns a week for active marketers, and there are about 500 mailers/mail service providers participating in informed delivery. You'll also notice that the average email open rate is 64%, which is rather high for anyone who does digital marketing. It's much higher than your average email open rate. So how does it work for donors? If a donor signs up for informed delivery, they're going to receive the mail that's imaged during processing. So keep in mind that the USPS is scanning all of our letter mail pieces as part of their informed visibility platform. They are scanning the majority of flat mail as well, but it's flat bundles. And that's why we don't see as much scanned data on flats as we do on letters. What happens is the USPS is processing 24/7. And once a donor signs up for informed delivery, it's going to queue in the evening to the USPS to say, Carolyn signed up for informed delivery. Let me match up all of the scan data that derives letter mail, flat mail, and parcels that I know is out for delivery to her home the next day. That is all pulled together and is generated in an email, and that's sent out to my home that morning, the next morning. I'm able then to open up my email. I can view this information on my app, or I can log on to the dashboard to get this information. How does it work for nonprofits? So from a nonprofit standpoint, if you're mailing direct mail, you're actually already participating in informed delivery without even signing up to do an active campaign. That's because your mail is being scanned by the United States Postal System, and anyone who signed up for informed delivery can see this content. So on the left-hand side, you'll see a sample of no interactive campaign. It's not that your mail piece won't be presented to an informed delivery user. It's just that it's going to be in black and white. On the right is the example of what it looks like when a marketer actually runs a campaign. You can see they have the ability to either use the black and white scanned image of the mail piece, or they can swap in a full color image. In addition, they can include a ride-along with a strong call to action. There's 3 levels of interactive informed delivery campaigns that a nonprofit marketer can produce. There's a mailer ID only level campaign. In this case, if you send a mailing of 10,000 pieces, all 10,000 recipients that are signed up for informed delivery would get the same interactive content in their informed delivery messaging. The second tier is to do an IMB serialized campaign. In this case, you can take your mailing and segment off imagery that you want spoken to individuals in that mailing. For example, perhaps you're doing a mailing nationally and you would like recipients on the West Coast to get an image of the ocean, and you would like in the East Coast recipients to get images of the Jersey Shore. You could do that as part of an IMB serialized campaign. On the right shows you what a personalized campaign looks like that. In a personalized campaign, you're speaking one-on-one with your informed delivery recipient. This requires a bit more work, and you have to work closely with the United States Postal Service to do this version. So let's talk about some of the informed delivery benefits for marketers. It's a way to reinforce your brand. Now, keep in mind, you're going to be able to showcase your brand and your mail pieces and resonate your mission more so in color than likely you can do in black and white. So for no additional cost and a little bit of lift, you get to resonate your brand through informed delivery. You also have the ability to emphasize a strong call to action. Now, one example I like to think of for nonprofits is the opportunity when you're sending out an urgent gram or need an immediate response for your mission. If you have the ability to run a campaign, because it's quite easy to set up, you can do so at the last moment, and include the ride-along, you could ask those donors to make an immediate donation for your cause by clicking on the link and going to your website to make a donation. Obviously, one of the other benefits is the link to the digital content. Now, we're hearing from some of our clients that one of the benefits that they see is that they're getting email addresses for donors that they don't actually have in their database. Because they have the physical address, they can mail to that donor, but if the donor interacts with the informed delivery campaign and goes to their website, they'll be able to collect that address, the email address, and market to that donor digitally thereafter. So that's one of the benefits that we're hearing from our nonprofit clients. Here's a bit about the user response. USPS is feeling very strong about informed delivery, has dedicated a lot of time and effort into deploying it. Over the next couple of years, they're really looking to expand on it because they feel like it's going to be very relevant to direct marketers. Close to 90% of the folks are satisfied with their informed delivery service. Most of them use it every day, and they would recommend it to family and friends. I think one of the interesting things about informed delivery is that it gives marketers an opportunity to engage with their donors in the morning. Most cases, people are at work all day and then they come home and they look at their mail in the evening and they're mostly, tired. But through informed delivery, you're getting a means to communicate via your mail with informed delivery users in the morning, because most cases people are actually signing up and viewing that mail in the, as part of their morning routine. At this point, I'm going to let Alex speak, and he's going to talk to you about implementing informed delivery campaigns.
Thank you, Carolyn. I think first, it looks like we just got a question in the Q&A box. I'm not sure if everybody can see this, but the question is, I used to get these informed delivery emails, but then stopped because the size of the emails was huge and it was causing my Gmail box to hit its volume limit. Do you know if the USPS has done anything in the last 6 months to reduce the size of these emails? At this time, we haven't heard of any efforts to reduce the size of the emails, but I feel your pain because the size of them can be quite large. The benefit is that, thankfully, at least in my case, getting 20 or 30 pieces of mail in my mailbox every day, the limit in the email is only your top 10 that you'll see. So I know they are trying to keep it as small as possible, but I haven't heard of any efforts to reduce the size of that yet. Okay, so going forward, we're going to be talking about how to implement your own campaign in informed delivery. Now that Carolyn's gotten you through the basics of what it is and what the benefits are, I'll talk a little bit about how to create one for yourself and for your clients, as well as illustrate a few examples of past campaigns that we've done, past campaigns that we've seen, some of the benefits of each, and then we'll pass it back to Carolyn to talk about the future of informed delivery. So first, we'll talk about some of the key campaign elements that go into an informed delivery campaign. And you would actually use the same approach in informed delivery that you'd use for a physical mailing. You're looking first for a well-designed mail piece that I'm sure all of you are doing currently. You want to have your customized content. That's the two images that Carolyn spoke about, the representative image and the supplemental content or ride-along image. Your interactive content, that's the URL link for the ride-along image that your recipients can click on to take them to your website to interact even more with the campaign. Designated dates, these are the start and end dates of your campaign. We usually recommend about 4 weeks from the start of your mail date, or at least the start of the mail entering the mail stream, about 4 weeks out. Usually encompasses everything, all the informed delivery messages that are going out. Remember that after the campaign is finished, even if the mail piece got delayed for some reason and arrives in a recipient's mailbox, they would not get the informed delivery message. So you're better off having it a little bit longer than a little bit shorter. And the last piece that you need is your MID, your mailer identification, and the serial number. This is how informed delivery works. This is the crux of the technology. The IMB is scanned by the Postal Service at the last point of contact, and at that point, it identifies your mailer ID and the serial number that are in the IMB. And when it reads that, it links it up with your email or your informed delivery account and knows to trigger the informed delivery messaging to go out, knowing that it's going to be arriving in your mailbox that day. That's why you usually get your informed delivery message, your email, your dashboard updates, or your app updates in the morning, because it'll show up right before or a few hours before the mail piece arrives in your mailbox. There's some reporting offered by the Postal Service that we found to be very critical to running an informed delivery campaign. Two individual reports, one you usually do before a campaign and the other you do after. The pre-campaign saturation report here allows you to tell how many recipients in your mail file are currently signed up for informed delivery, the saturation rate in your mail file. All you need to do to get this report is trim down your mail file to the 11-digit zip code. That's your five-digit zip, your +4, and your delivery point. And once you have a mail file trimmed down to just that information and saved in a CSV file, you can submit it through the Business Customer Gateway, and they'll turn around a saturation report in roughly 24 hours. I've seen it even sooner. Here's a sample of saturation report that we've done for one of our clients, and they give you a lot of information. It's not in this format particular. As exciting as this format is, it's even in a less exciting presentation. but they usually start with the size of the mailing list that you provided to them and what they had to trim it down to get to the unique and eligible 11-digit delivery point zip codes. Remember, not everybody in the country is even able to get informed delivery. The number of zip codes is growing and growing, but things like businesses, condo complexes, apartment complexes, things like that, they're still working around how to get informed delivery available for those specific zip codes. Think about it on the level of the difference between users and households. Everybody in your house can get the same informed delivery message, but they don't quite have the technology yet to trim it down to individual users. So me and my wife and my kids could all get different informed delivery messages. We all get the same thing. After you have that number, it trims it down to the number of subscribers. So you can see the mailing list size for this one was about 43,000. The subscribers was a little over 5,000, and that's good for about a 12% saturation rate. The USPS says that their averages are around 5 to 6%, although even that number is climbing. But we found, especially in nonprofits, the saturation level tends to be north of 10%, sometimes 15, sometimes 20. The highest I saw was 35% one time. On top of that, we also get the number of email enrolled subscribers. So in this case, it was close to 3,000, which was good for about 6 to 7% saturation rate of people who are subscribed to email as well as just the informed delivery basic service. Okay, after you've done your saturation report, it's time to submit a campaign, and there's a few steps involved, but it's actually fairly simple. Once you've been able to collect all of the information and the artwork and the URL, entering it's actually very simple, and we'll actually show you live how easy it is to submit a live campaign. But step one is designing the artwork. That's the ride-along image and the representative image that Carolyn spoke to you before. There's some details there about the size of each image needs to be under 200 kilobytes. It must be in JPEG format, so on and so forth. There's a certain pixel size that you need to get on each one to make sure that it's able to be submitted through the business customer gateway. Another point that we like to bring up here is that representative image varies depending on whether you're mailing a letter or a flat. Like Carolyn said, all letters are scanned. However, all flats are not, due to the fact that they are scanned in bundles. And because of this, if you are mailing a flat, you are required to have a representative image in your informed delivery campaign. If you're mailing just a letter, you have the option of just letting that grayscale scan go through. And a lot of people ask, well, why would we ever want the grayscale image when we can have the color image? Some nonprofits have actually found use out of it, especially in the case where you have a highly personalized outside of your mail piece. Say, for instance, if you're mailing a self-mailer that was run digitally and you have the recipient's name all over it, and you picked out person-specific imagery or something like that specific to the recipient, you might want to have that grayscale image go through because you don't want to lose out on the benefit of that that personalization just for informed delivery. If you did opt to do that, you still have the option, or you are required to have that ride-along image in there as well, regardless. So you'll still get the benefit of the link to take the recipient to their landing page as well. So step two is the landing page. After you have your artwork, you want to have a landing page that the recipient can click through to, that you link up with the ride-along image in the business customer gateway. Now, a lot of people have found benefit of creating a unique landing page specific to not just informed delivery users, but also that specific informed delivery campaign. And the reason for this is that you'll find if you're able to do that, and it is a little bit extra work, you will find that you can track a lot easier the effect and the results of your informed delivery campaign and the lift that it has brought to your overall mailing campaign. because you know that the people that go to that website are specifically designed or specifically drawn there through the informed delivery campaign. And the final step is gathering the rest of the details that are required for entering in an informed delivery campaign on the Business Customer Gateway. A lot of these details you already have, things like your organization name, your campaign title, a campaign code or job number, the dates, mail date and 4 weeks out from the mail date, mailer ID, serial number, so on and so forth, as well as the representative image, ride-along image, and URL that you just created. So once you have all that and you've collected all that, collecting is the more challenging side of this, you're able to go onto the Business Customer Gateway and log in to create your own campaign. And it is so easy that I am just going to switch over to my browser right now and show you exactly how easy it is to do. Once you've logged in, you go to Other Services, Informed Delivery, and create a campaign. You have the ability to create a new campaign or one from a template. It allows you to have up to 5 templates in there. We don't use them all that often because we like to have ours as varying as possible and as unique as possible, but it is an option if you are sending out multiple of the same thing. So we'll just enter in sample org. Let's see, we'll start at, say, the mail date was this Friday coming up. 4 weeks out from that would be the end of April. I'll enter in just any 6-digit mailer ID. And it does have the ability to use a 9-digit if you have one of those. Just remember that you would have a 6-digit serial number if that is the case. And one of the best things about the Business Customer Gateway is that it watches the numbers that you're entering in, and it does have a pre-functioning algorithm that checks whether you're actually entering in codes that make sense or not. So you can see there that because the number hasn't filled out yet, it's saying that the end serial number must be start. So that's one of the pre-checks that it has in there, which is one of the handy details. Again, you have to check whether it's a letter or a flat. If it is a flat, you absolutely are required to have a representative image. And then we can continue on to entering our artwork. Just pull from my desktop here and insert that. This is from Trout Unlimited, one of our clients that does frequent informed delivery campaigns. Insert the ride-along image. And you can see there, it pulls up your sample organization already. Then you want your landing page to enter. It allows you to test to make sure that your landing page is actually what you expect it to be. And then you can run a campaign preview and see exactly what the recipient's going to see on the back end. And this is just a sample. This is just a preview. So we can send it to ourselves. And that'll be sent off for my review, or I can send it to my client, whomever, after they've approved it. Save and continue again. And you can save as a draft at any point through these in case you need to double check something, or if you want to enter in your artwork first and run a preview before you have collected any of this other information. The serial number, for instance, can take a little bit of time. Let you do a preview of all the information. And then you're ready to submit the campaign. I mean, how long did that take? 5 minutes? It's just that easy. And it allows you to create a template afterward. So that's it. After you run the campaign and after the 4 weeks are up, it's time to run your post-campaign report. The great thing about this is that they offer you 2 different types to report, a summary and a detailed. We usually review the summary for the most part, and I'll show you an example of the benefits of that. It just kind of gives you a high-level detail of all the information that you get out of Informed Delivery Campaign, but the detailed gives you the date and time of each email received, opened, and clicked through for every record that is subscribed to Informed Delivery and your mailing. And because it's listed by the serial number, you can do a little bit of work and track it back to your original mail file and find out the name and address of those exact people. The benefit of this, and we have yet to try it out with the client yet, but we're pushing for running a trigger campaign based on that serial number by matching it back to the original mail file, so that the recipient who just received an Informed Delivery Campaign, maybe you can send a follow-up email, or maybe you can send a follow-up mailing to everybody that actually opened the email, so on and so forth. Just some potential. Here's a sample of the summary report on the high-level details. So it shows you the date that it was run, the total mail file. The actual mail pieces tracked was only about 4,000 on this particular one. The email sent was close to 3,000, open was close to 2. And that email open rate on this one was almost 70%. And again, like we say with these subscriber rates, the email open rates tend to be a little bit higher for nonprofits. We typically see around 70% and sometimes even higher than that. And the click-throughs only at 1% here isn't all that impressive, but it's actually fairly typical for a digital campaign. In fact, slightly better for nonprofits. So we'll stop here for a few more questions. We just got one. Are you using this more for donor acquisition campaigns or renewal, or both? It varies. We're kind of running it for a little bit of both, depending on the client. Some clients prefer to use it on a renewal, and some clients do it on a monthly renewal basis. But acquisitions have their benefit as well. It can be considered just another touch point, really, for a lot of your campaigns. And as we all know, the more touch points, the better, especially on acquisition. And we have another one in the chat box here. Have subscribers complained about receiving notifications from mail pieces that aren't theirs? For example, Mrs. Jones received Mr. John's mail piece in her notifications. We've heard a little bit of that. I think specifically when people are moving, it doesn't get updated on the exact day. For example, I actually just moved a couple of weeks ago, and it took me a couple of days to get my Informed Delivery moved over. The good thing is that if you haven't subscribed, you'll see how thorough the USPS is with maintaining privacy. They ask you some questions that you're kind of wondering where they even got the information about, credit cards and social security numbers and things like that, to make sure that you are the person receiving this. And I had to go through a little bit of that as well even when I moved, even though I was already signed up for Informed Delivery before and after. But for the most part, they are very good about making sure that it's lined up. I've been subscribed for close to 2 years now, and I think I've only had one instance where a neighbor's mail piece arrived in my Informed Delivery. Another question: is this PowerPoint available for us to download? Just reach out to us afterward. We are recording this entire presentation that we can provide you with the download link for. And I think that's it for questions at the moment. So now we're going to move on to campaign design and some tips when you're designing your campaigns. On the representative images, remember this is the bigger one that is required for flats. Bigger and bolder is better. You want to use your customized branding, but you want it to be full of color. You want it to have a clear call to action. And if you can, we recommend matching elements in your representative image to the mail piece itself. That way there's a tie-in to the recipient from the Informed Delivery message that they get that morning to the mail piece that arrives that day. So they already had kind of the precognition that it was already about to come to them and that they were going to be looking out for it. Now, if you don't give a representative image, especially on a flat, you'll just see a message, or the recipient will just see a message that says a mail piece for which we could not scan is included in this in your day's mail. So for flats that aren't scanned, that's what you wind up with. So all the more critical to put a representative image in if you are mailing an informed delivery campaign for a flat. On the ride-along images, we recommend going more simple, especially more simple than the representative image that's bigger and bolder and can kind of include your messaging. The ride-along is all about getting somebody to click through to your landing page. So you want to reinforce the idea that this is a clickable link. You know, something as basic as clear cut as click here, but you can also obviously tailor it to whatever your call to action is. You know, if you're from the Red Cross, you want to say, you know, book your blood donor appointment here. But at the same time, trying to have it follow the creative design that you included in your representative image and also your mail piece, so that there's still that kind of clear connotation that everything's connected together. But doing it in a little bit more simple, clean layout is kind of the name of the game with the ride-along image. Design requirements for images. I won't go into too much detail here, but like I was saying earlier, there are some specific specifications that you need to have on both images when you're submitting them to the Business Customer Gateway. Again, it does have a check in there to make sure that your images that you're uploading follow these specifications. It won't let you upload them if they're out of spec. So that's, you know, at least you're not submitting a campaign and guessing whether the images are going through. But we'll leave these here. I won't read them off one by one so that when you have the presentation later, you can double check them all. And now on to some real campaign examples for ones that we've seen and ones that we've done ourselves. The first up is one of our Alliance nonprofit founding members, St. Jude. You can see that they often use, and they do this in a lot of their campaigns, where they include an image of the actual mail piece. You know, this is the height of keeping that same creative theme throughout all of your pieces. You're showing them the exact mail piece that's going to be arriving in their mailbox that day. The only difference is, instead of an address block there, they're able to include a little teaser about a call to action. And they do a great job of keeping their ride-along very simple, branded, and a clear call to action to get through to their URL there. International Rescue Committee is another client of ours. Thankfully, their branding already has this very vibrant yellow color, so their representative images really, really pop. For those of you who are currently subscribed for Informed Delivery, you have probably seen a case where a number of informed delivery messages have come into your inbox that day. The algorithm, as far as we know, for who gets the top spot is depending on just timing. Whoever submits their campaign first gets to move to the top. If you're creating an informed delivery interactive campaign, you automatically move ahead of anybody who didn't create a campaign. So if you're the only one that is in the mailbox that day, you're the only one, you move right to the top regardless. But if there are others, you want to make sure that you stand out. And IRC especially has a very vibrant color. I mean, their arrow logo kind of calls out directly what exactly they're asking you to do. Provide hope, choose yours, to go right through to their website there. Heifer International is one that Carolyn brought up earlier, and this is one of our clients that mails both flats and letters. The one there on the left, this most important gift catalog in the world, is a flat, and they've also chosen to just provide an image of the mail piece that's going to be arriving in the mailbox that day. Again, this creates a very clear connotation, a theme throughout all of their mail pieces, so that you know exactly what's arriving in your mailbox that day. The one there over on the right is one that we especially like because not only did it include an image of the mail piece, it also has a teaser around it that kind of fits with the creative theme of the overall campaign. And then the ride-along image is very simple, very clear, branded, follows the theme, and calls out exactly what they're asking you to do. I'd like to feed a hungry child. And Heifer International, for those of you who don't know, is all about helping support third world economies directly through providing them ways to take care of themselves, like filling a hive and feeding a child. So that's a very excellent service there. Trout Unlimited is one that we talked about before as well. This is their May 2018 Life mailing. The mail piece itself there is on the left, and you can see it's an invitation style. You're not really sure what's included in the package itself, but if you had gotten the informed delivery message before there on the right, you know that you're getting this Life member offer to, down on the ride-along image you see, to get your rod and reel. And this is a promotion that when you sign up to become a Life member, you get entered in a drawing to get a fly fishing rod and reel. This was a great follow through all through the mail piece, and yielded one of their highest click-through rates for trout at almost 3%. Another one for trout, like I was saying before, they're one of our clients that likes to do a monthly renewal mailing. They wind up mailing a lot of the same artwork month after month for 3 or 4 months at a time until they kind of show fatigue on their post-campaign reports. And last December, they wound up changing it to this other style of showing the exact mail piece itself with a great call to action there to renew now. All right, I'm going to pass it over to Carolyn now to talk about the future of informed delivery.
Great, thank you, Alex. So in process, we talked a little bit earlier about greater flat visibility. If you're looking at mail tracking data on your flat mail, you'll have noticed over the last year or so that USPS has increased their ability to share scan data on flats, and that has also resonated in their ability to enable marketers to interact with informed delivery on flat mail. They've also allowed the personalized one-to-one campaigns, and that's also something that marketers can leverage. They are testing a mobile wallet coupon. And in addition, they're offering informed delivery as part of their USPS marketing promotions this year. So if you haven't looked into it and you're interested in testing informed delivery, they'll be giving donations, 2% rebate for every mail piece that's entered under an informed delivery campaign later this year. So registration opens up in July, runs through November. If the promotion period, meaning when you would have to run the informed delivery campaign, starts in September and runs through November. So at the time of the mailing, let's just say it's 10,000 pieces. If you're running an informed delivery campaign, you would get 2% rebate on your postage at the time you present that mailing, no matter how many informed delivery users are signed up as part of that campaign. In addition, they're talking about testing a click-to-call capability where you could embed a phone number in your informed delivery campaign, and you could say something like, call now to make an immediate donation, and it would follow through with a call to your call center. They're also talking about enabling mailers to include interactive ride-along information for packages in the dashboard. And what could that look like? You could have ordered a pair of ski gloves, and they're talking about giving marketers the capability to cross-market on that package. So if you're getting an informed delivery data that day that said that package with the ski gloves was coming to your home, you could click to buy, say, the matching ski overalls. And in addition, there's something called informed address. So the USPS has got informed visibility, that's their term for all of the mail tracking data. Informed delivery, we've just talked about. Informed address is something new that's going into test piloting, and that's going to give the mailers the ability to collect and cross-market based on segmented data. For instance, if you've got a client, again, that's a mailer that's interested in buying ski products, you might be able to say, I want to market to that individual without even having their address. So a lot to come on informed address, but it will be tied to informed delivery. We know that. And then they have a goal of 40 million users in 2020. That's how many informed delivery users they'd like to get set up. And they are actively marketing using postcards and direct mail campaigns to get more informed deliveries users subscribed. And we have a couple questions. If we're using a blind OE where the strategy is not to give away who it's from, will informed delivery share who is sending the mail piece, even if you don't have a customized your campaign? And the answer is really no. The USPS isn't going to share that information whether you are marketing or not. And as a marketer, you have the ability to state your company name or not. And then the other question from Sherry was, do you have results of how the interactive campaign has affected performance? And we do have some results for clients, but I have to say that it is early. And a lot of our nonprofits are tentative on sharing that information because they haven't been able to tie down the attribution level on informed delivery. So they can tell how many informed delivery recipients might have interacted with their website because the USPS is telling us how many people have gone to the website. But some nonprofits don't have the ability to track within their website. If someone lands on the site and they have, even if it's an informed delivery unique landing page, if they click around and then go to a different donation page, they lose track of whether they came through the informed delivery or not. We have seen, a lot of clients say that they see a lift or they're seeing additional donations that they have tied up back, but I think it's a little early to be able to say, overall, we're seeing, say, a 1% lift by using informed delivery. At this point, do we have any other questions? Can you talk more about informed address? So informed address is something that the USPS is talking about. There is an MTAC work group that just actually started meeting last week. It is very early. It will be test pilot in the Northern Virginia area. They're looking for people to raise their hand to test pilot it. The concept is that as a marketer or a nonprofit, you'd be able to connect with the postal system and ask them for a list of mail addresses that actually wouldn't have the address data. It would have an embedded information that you would be able to use on your mail piece, but it wouldn't have a recipient's name or physical address. Rather, it's more like just passing the IMB, and that you would be able to use this in your outbound direct mailings and hopefully generate more donations and revenue associated with it.
And on top of it, Carolyn, sorry to interject, they are also looking to tie it into informed delivery so that when your informed delivery messaging goes out and is received, there is a checkbox there that asks whether you're interested or not in the messaging that you're receiving. So for instance, if it's Dick's Sporting Good and they sent out an informed delivery message, there would be a checkbox there to say whether or not you're interested in what Dick's is selling there. And if that is the case, the Postal Service will start building a database on people who are interested in, say, sporting goods. And at some point make that available to marketers to better target the recipients of their campaigns.
Another question came in and asked, are there any costs associated with this? With informed delivery, there are no costs. As a marketer, your costs would correlate with the person that's actually building the campaign. You saw Alex do it. It's quite easy. So that's your staff or your overhead expense. And perhaps if you use an outside agency to do your creative, you might have some costs associated with that. But the postal system doesn't charge anything for informed delivery. And again, if you run a promotion this fall, they'll actually pay you to run informed delivery with that 2%. and you can sign up for multiple campaigns and drops. If you could actually sign up for everything that's going to be outbound mailing between September 1st and November 30th and get 2% off for that postage. Now, in the future, will the USPS figure out a way to profit from informed delivery? Possibly. There's been discussion about would they charge to be at the top of the informed delivery email? You know, Alex said at this point, if you're running a campaign, you get to the top as long as you enter yours first. There's been discussion that possibly people will pay to get to the top, or that they'd pay to be able to have some other additional marketing slots in that interactive campaign or in that email that's actually distributed. We're yet to see what is going to come with informed address, but we also think that down the road there will be some opportunities for the USPS to generate revenue from informed address by sharing that data with marketers, because essentially you'll be buying a list like you normally would get from a list broker. And then, will there be a link to this webinar to watch again? Certainly, we're going to share the links with AdriftGo and the Alliance for Nonprofit Mailers, and they can distribute it to their members. And if we don't have any other questions,
I think there's a few more in the Q&A box here. Let's see. Have you had any of your clients test the interactive process, splitting the file in some way? This kind of goes back to what Carolyn was talking about with some of our clients being a little shy about handing out results, but overall in general, kind of anecdotally, we are seeing some sort of lift, but in terms of tying it to an exact number, nothing at this point, no. Let's see, do you expect the USPS to charge mailers for campaigns in the future? We kind of spoke to that just now. Is there or will there be an option for moving images or GIFs as either a ride-along or representative image? I think there has been some discussion about that at some point in the future, but we don't have any ETA on that. Have you heard anything more on that, Carolyn?
I haven't. I've heard it discussed, but I haven't heard when.
Right. Besides the additional time and effort to create the informed delivery campaign, what are the charges? Again, no charges. It's a free service currently offered by the USPS, but we're, as the USPS evolves, I'm sure they'll find some way to get some sort of revenue out of it, whether it's moving people to the top of the having customers pay to get to the top of the list or something like that. Let's see, can mailers test the impact of this process by splitting the file? Absolutely. Doing an A/B split is the best course of action, I would say, in terms of getting a results analysis from figuring out whether informed delivery provides a measurable lift or not for your clients. Good question, Michelle. Thank you.
Yeah, and to that point, you can choose who you market to through informed delivery. When Alex showed the process in the business service customer gateway, you could exclude or include CRIDs and MIDs at that point.
I would say it is a little bit tricky to do. The key is to split by serial number. So when you are doing your splits at the merge purge stage or segmentation or wherever, you want to make sure that your serial numbers are in ranges for each package. You saw when I was entering it on the business customer gateway, they don't provide you a way to enter in specific serial numbers. You can only enter in a range, say from 1 to 1,000 for that campaign. So you can't do all of your segmentation and then apply your serial numbers, because the serial numbers will be scattered all over the place. You need to have the serial numbers appended after the segmentation's been done, so that they're already in their groups that they need to be when you're going to enter them into the business customer gateway.
Alex, we had another question, and it said, how do you A/B split without knowing who in your file has informed delivery? And that is a little bit complicated. You wouldn't know exactly.
Yep. Yeah, so you would probably want to have a fairly large quantity, but even then it wouldn't be a one-to-one analysis, because some segment might have a significantly higher saturation than another. However, like we were saying before, because of the post-campaign analysis, your detailed report gives you the IMB serial numbers of the people who did respond. So you can track those back to your mail file and get a little bit more detailed information that way.
And we encourage nonprofits to think about their informed delivery campaigns at their planning stage and not as an afterthought. When you're planning your acquisition or your renewal series, think about your informed delivery messaging and the content and the level of interaction that you want at that point. It's part of your overall marketing plans.
Absolutely.
All right, it doesn't look like we have any other questions. I want to thank everyone who joined us for today's webinar. And for those of you that are not signed up for informed delivery, we hope to have sparked enough interest for you to do so. And for those of you contemplating testing informed delivery, hope this webinar provided you with an easy to comprehend overview of how to get started. And if there's participants that have been using informed delivery and you'd like to share your success stories or lessons learned, we'd love to hear from you. If you have any additional questions or would like to connect directly with Alex or myself, you can reach out on LinkedIn or contact us at Production Solutions. And I'd like to thank both Steve at the Alliance of Nonprofit Mailers and Bobby Vett at Adriftco for brainstorming this webinar concept and for being advocates of sharing features from the Postal Service with the nonprofit community. I'd like to thank you for the time this morning, and I hope everybody has a wonderful day.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.